Evening, chaps. How are you? It's Friday. The sun is shining. The beer is cold. The beer is poured. Welcome to the weekend. It's time for another live stream. As always, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to talk about for the next hour or thereabouts. If my voice sounds a little bit husky, it's because I'm absolutely full of man flu. So I plan on giving it, the odd little bit of Highland medicine this evening. So with that in mind, let's see who's first in this evening. Just scrolling. My dear me, I've been talkative while I've been kind of busy here working. Scrolling all the way up to the top of the chat. Who was first in? It was Johnny H. And then who else we got in? Dr. Gomez, Gordo Canuck, Anton, Frank Bolam, Johnny Random, Grandpa Joe, and Vincent Brennan. And have I said Danny Hancock already? If I haven't, I just have because he's in. And Luke's in. And who else we got? Michael Palmer and Peter Collins. And Sean House. Ian Clark's in. Reeled in 58. Who else we got? Let's have a look at a good old chin wag while I've been working, haven't you? All right, for some. Dave Lewis is in, and then we've got David Evans and John Ross, Paul Trainer, Cal B. Who else? Jeff C. And Michael W. is in, and did I say Sean House already? But there, I just did it again. Deco Dude is in, and who else we got? Let's have a look. I suspect it's all the usual suspects. I could just kind of write this down beforehand and read it out, couldn't I? Because I know who's going to be here. Chip Young's in, and scrolling down, we've got Nancy Davis, and Base at Night, The Time Prophet, Malcolm Spillett, who else? Rexomatic, Evening Rex, or whatever time it is. It's good morning in Phoenix, is it? First gig of the year tomorrow. Good luck with it, mate. Colin Falcons in, Jimmy James, Scotty the Fox, the Essex Cat, Ian Stewart, saying hello from sunny Morecambe. And who else we got in? Pablo Hank, Rob Bald, Geronimo's in, evening mate. Then Johnny Love, we've got in Fenderbender, and then the page just refreshed and I lost my place. So Steve Muskie's in. Muskie, nice to see you, mate. Then Tonefish and William Forrest, and if I've missed your name there in the register, please accept my apologies. It wouldn't be much of a live stream if I just kind of read everybody out as they entered. But nice to see you all here again. Thank you so much once again for turning up and listening to, as the title of the video says, a fat bald bloke drinking beer. Speaking of which, this evening I shall be mainly on the Rheinbacher Pilsner. I've been shopping in Aldi today, and if anybody could tell me if I know my voice sounds a little bit kind of throaty and everything today, but does my mic sound any different to usual? Because I'm using a different interface today. So if you could just let me know what it sounds like at your end. Is it louder? Is it quieter? Is it harsher? Is it softer? Just all that kind of stuff, because I'd like to know. And what a few people talking to me already. Michael Broadhead. I've tried to request this before, but how about a vid of your favourite song endings with some tips about performing a tune with a fade out? Yeah, that's a good one actually, because when you're playing live and you've got a song that's got a fade out on it, how do you cope with that? There are various ploys. People saying the mic is fine, and well, that's good to know. That might be an idea actually. How to end a song that is recorded with a fade out. I always think fade out endings are a little bit of not a cop out, but it's like, could you not have just kind of put that little bit more effort in to think of an ending? Because you're going to have to do it when you go out on tour, aren't you? Dave Lewis is saying, any changes next week for the Thursday bank holidays and street parties? No, not really. I'm just going to, because I don't do anything live that's going to land on, on the Thursday. The video will be going up at its usual time. The Thursday video, I better tell you what's coming up on the channel this week, hadn't I? If you don't watch it till the next day, well, that's fair enough. No, I'm just, to be honest with you, that had all sort of, that busy beavering away, I'd kind of completely forgotten about there was an extra bank holiday and stuff because of the Jubilee. When you're self-employed, you just, bank holidays, just, you don't kind of register with them. Anyway, what's coming up on the channel this week then? Well, Sunday. I tell you, me head's all over the place at the moment. On Sunday, it's another Les Paul video. There is a video where I haven't bought another Les Paul, don't worry. I've been loaned a couple of Les Pauls, and we're going to be looking at one of those on Sunday, which has a bit of an interesting pedigree, and we're going to find out exactly what that is on Sunday's video. So it's an interesting guitar that you might want to make sure you watch that one. I'm sure you watch all of my videos, but that one's especially interesting. Then on Monday, solo analysis. I let the cat out the bag last week on the live stream. We're looking at on Monday. We're looking at the solo from "Goodbye Stranger" by Supertramp, as played by Roger Hodgson, who is a fantastic guitarist. I always think of Roger Hodgson as being a singer and keyboard player. I didn't realise that he was, kind of such a knockout guitarist, but he is. Then on Tuesday, it's a little trip down memory lane for me on Tuesday. We're looking at possibly, I can't say for certain that they are, but possibly the first 5 riffs I ever learned on the guitar and what they taught me, basically. So that's Tuesday's video. Wednesday's video is the start of a new series. This week's just gone. I always think of it when it's in the past as last week, but this Wednesday that's just gone, that Rhythm Wednesday was the last one in the series. I sort of brought it to a natural conclusion, and we're doing a new series of videos on Wednesday. Basically all about, it's going to be like kind of a lick of the week kind of thing. So I'm deliberately going to try and keep the theory and stuff to a minimum on those videos, because I know if you're interested in just kind of learning a lick, you don't have the the kind of time to study the algebra and the equations behind it. So it's just going to be, here's a lick, it works over this kind of chord sequence, now go away and kind of crack on with it. So that Wednesday is the first in that new series of videos. Then on Thursday, it's a comparison video between my Les Paul tribute and that one of those Les Pauls that my mate David has very kindly loaned to me, that are going to be in a couple of videos that are coming up. I've been making one today, actually, working on the music for it. Let's see. While I've been blethering, what you've been talking about in the chat. The wife has downloaded the Sex Pistols' God Save the Queen for the Jubilee. Chip Young is asking, thinking of a new guitar to get me more focused and invested. P90 Revstar or Epi Sheraton Pro 2? Thoughts? You cannot go wrong with those Revstars. I've still got one. If I lean, oh, you can't see it. It's behind me on the couch. It has been sold, but the chap hasn't come and picked it up yet. He lives at the other end of the country, basically, and he's going to, next time he's up this neck of the woods, he's going to come and pick it up. Chicken fowl will sort you out, John. Yeah, my days of eating a fowl are long behind me. It is curry this evening, though, it has to be said. We were going to have Chinese, and then just at the last minute, I said to the missus, I said, shall we have curry instead? And she was amenable to that. So, yeah, it's probably going to be a boona tonight, I think. Chicken boona. They do a nice one at the local Bengal Spice. So, what you're saying there, Gordo? Don't you find when people make it big that most of the time, like Roger Hodgson, they are actually multi-talented, except in the USA where it seems to be more superficial, but not always? I don't know. I mean, I can't think that there's that many people who are multi-instrumentalists that have made it big. Like massively, because people tend to be known for they're a great guitar player, or they're a great singer, or they're a great drummer. I mean, there's always the exceptions to the rule. I mean, someone like Dave Grohl, for example, and Albert Lee, everybody thinks of him as, the sort of kind of lightning fast country picking guitarist, but he's a mean honky tonk piano player as well. And the multi-instrumentalists who excel on multiple instruments are, something I would say of a minority. So anyway, yeah, all right. Yes, I said they're in a minority. I said they didn't exist. Prince and Peter Frampton and Stevie Wonder. Yes. Has anybody seen Warren Hewitt's video on Stevie Wonder? I think it only came out like the last couple of days or so. Brilliant video. I love all this stuff. Prince was the Bowie of the 80s. Yeah. I can see why you're saying that, because it's like my opinion on Prince is very much like my opinion on Bowie. It's like the stuff that I like, I really, really like. But there's other parts of their career that just leave me cold, and I just don't get it, But yeah, I mean, Prince was, he was a fantastic musician all round, wasn't he? As I say, the multi-instrumentalists are there, but, they're remarkable because they are so rare. It's not something that is run of the mill, is what I'm saying. Steve Entwistle saying, still surprised to say that to this day that Karen Carpenter was a drummer. Yes. I don't know if you ever saw that TV miniseries that was on in I think the early 90s at some point, the Karen Carpenter story. I ended up sitting through it and enjoying it more than I thought I was going to, actually. But apparently she was like really reluctant to come out front the stage and actually kind of be centre stage out front and get out from behind the drum kit. So I didn't know that until I saw that mini-series, which, given how long the Carpenters were around, she was long gone by then, but you know what I'm saying. I've been listening to the Carpenters for decades before that, and only found out the fact that she was a drummer then. What we talking about? Megalock Kelly. Let's have a look at this. Hi, John. Have you seen Brandon Ackers? Can you hear the difference between a 200, 2,000, 20,000? Basically, can you tell the difference between cheap and massively expensive guitars? The difference is huge with classical guitars. I imagine it is, because well, why wouldn't it be? It's the wood that any kind of acoustic guitar is going to be made out of, the quality of the wood, how long it's been seasoned, how well the guitar has been made, is going to have a massive, massive difference. And, the craftsmanship involved is going to be reflected in the price, isn't it? What's this? Michael Broadhead is saying, Are all your original tunes instrumentals, or do you have any possibles for vocals? Ever written any lyrics? I did write lyrics, way back when I was of a mind to, but we're talking sort of the 80s here, and I don't know. It's just I'm not a lyricist. It's just not something I'm comfortable doing. I'm certainly not comfortable as a singer. And truth be told, I like nothing more than listening to instrumental music. Most of my albums that I tend to listen to are very, if not completely instrumental, but, very, very heavily slewed towards that, That said, I do like the song with a good lyric because I appreciate it all the more because it's not something I can do. People like, I don't know if you've ever come across Henry Priestman, ex-member of a band called the Christians who were around in the 80s. He is just an absolute gifted storyteller in lyrics, much in the same vein as someone like Richard Thompson. Absolutely magical lyrics, and it's like, well, I ain't going to compete with that, So I prefer to do my to get my point across just via the melodies and the notes and stuff, which I think. Correct me if I'm wrong here, I might be, but I think that is something more universal about music because it doesn't rely upon understanding the language that the lyrics are written in. If you could have the most beautiful lyric in the world, but if it's written in a language that you don't speak or understand, then you're not going to get the point of it. But a melody is universal, I think. Let's have a look. Chris Otwell saying Bill Bailey is a competent multi-instrumentalist. Saw him recently, he was awesome. I think it was that thing that he did when he Enter Sandman on the kind of harp horns. I don't know if you've seen that. Absolutely fantastic. Bottleneck Bob's in. How are you, mate? Nice to see you. And we're talking about The Snow Goose by Camo. Absolutely fantastic. John Robson, what do you think of Auf Wiedersehen, Pet? I shall be watching some old episodes of it later on tonight, courtesy of BritBox. It's a little bit of a Friday ritual for me. It's either that or Ronnie Barker in Porridge. Can you do some Buddy Holly analysis on your Wednesday strumming course? I find his strumming ahead of his time. I've actually finished doing the Rhythm Wednesday series now. We're on to past year's new as of this week, but I am thinking about doing kind of a series at some point on 50s rock and roll, basically. Because they were the 50s rock and roll guitarists were really the people who made the biggest impression, really, I think. If it hadn't been for, yes, there were people playing those kind of licks and solos and stuff in blues and in jazz before that, but it was really the 50s rock and roll thing, especially someone like Elvis swinging his hips around with a guitar around his neck that kind of means that we're not all playing saxophones or keyboards these days. It was the time when the guitar became, the front and center kind of instrument that's in the limelight, and it's the one that everybody wanted to kind of play to be able to be the cool kid. So I've been thinking for a while about doing something like that. It's just how I'm going to structure it. And Buddy Holly will be definitely featuring in that because, as you say, his strumming was, it was very advanced for his time. It wasn't just all kind of down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Excuse me, chaps. I just need to lubricate the old sore throat a little bit more. And while I'm doing that, one Paul, let's everybody get ready over the letters F, L, A, K, and E, because this is a bit lively. This one, it looks like it's going. Actually, it's not looking too bad. I think I'll settle for that and just kind of pour the rest in later. Where are we? Sorry, Rob, I clicked on the wrong thing there. I'm looking for Pablo Hank, and he says the guitarist who played the solo on "Rock Around the Clock" was awesome. Poor fella died a few weeks after he recorded it. I'd heard that. I can't remember his name for the life of me. I'm sure somebody will supply me with it in the chat. But yeah, does anybody remember that book that was always on sale in Guitarist magazine by Phil Hilborn? The book, it was just called Solo, and it was basically a collection of solo tabs that Phil Hilborn had transcribed, and I remember seeing the Rock Around the Clock solo in that book because I had it back then. This is pre-internet, ultimateguitar.com and everything, where tabs were free on demand for the most part. So I had that book and I was devotedly working through it. And yeah, I just remember kind of thinking Rock Around the Clock. Oh, I'll have a go at this. This is going to be easy. And yeah. It's not. It's by today's standards. It will be shred. Chuck a tube screamer on that guitar, and it's a really fast picking guitar solo. It's incredible. Let's have a look here. See, we're talking about. We were talking about. Sorry, I've lost it there. In more ways than one. Buddy, that's the one. Yeah, Buddy Holly had so many hits. Every time I go to click on something here, the chat moves up and I keep missing it. That's the one. Buddy Holly had so many hits and good songs considering his few years of output. Yeah, that is undeniably true. And it's like there's a few bands and artists like that. I mean, another one that springs to mind is CCR, Creedence. How long were they together as a band? It was like, just what, 3-4 years, something like that. And I've got like a 2 CD anthology collection of all their stuff, and it's all just great songs after great songs after great songs, and they were literally around for like 5 minutes. Well, not literally, you know what I'm saying, but it's the amount of stuff that they put out, good stuff that was that stood the test of time and is still getting radio airplay, and is still, more to the point, it's still kind of, I'm still getting, 13, 14-year-old students in my lessons who are wanting to learn to play Proud Mary, Fortunate Son, Tombstone Shadow, Have You Ever Seen the Rain, songs like that, and it's just like, these guys had just such a brief period, but they were, it's the amount of great songs that they churned out in that short time is staggering, I think. And Buddy Holly, yeah, the same. Let's scroll down. Yeah, Small Faces as well, Phil. what we're saying about McCartney. McCartney used to run a brilliant Buddy Holly tribute get-together every concert every year for a few decades in London. I did not know that, but it's interesting. Where are we? Glen Campbell was a super guitarist. I never knew about it at the start. I thought he was just a great singer, but regret not going to see him. Yeah, if you've ever seen, and I'm sure most of you have, that documentary about the Wrecking Crew, that was Glen Campbell features quite large in that, and he was, an absolutely monster guitar player. I remember. And for our international viewers, this was a talk show that used to be on in the 70s. I remember an episode of Parkinson in the 70s where he basically was having a chat with Michael Parkinson, and he got out his guitar and just sat in a talk show context with an acoustic guitar and absolutely started blazing around the fretboard. And I was really young. I started playing guitar when I was 11, and this was like before I played the guitar. But I was thinking, oh, he's good. Even as a non-guitarist, I could tell he was he was something a bit special. Where are we? Do I get any chance to do session stuff these days? Haven't done in a while, mate. Haven't done in a while, and it was I would never really bestow the term session work on the kind of stuff I used to do. It was just literally kind of getting a few quid for doing a few guitar parts for kind of websites, and but do you remember back in the days when you'd click on a website and you'd go onto the home page and there'd be music, and before kind of web designers realized that kind of thing was incredibly irritating to have to put up with. Well, I did a few of those and similar such things, but I haven't done anything kind of remotely like that for a while now. I'm too busy apart from anything else. Where are we? Bottleneck Bob is saying, great gig in Newcastle a couple of weeks ago. Europe, Foreigner and Whitesnake on the same bill. David Coverdale did well for a 70-year-old. Is that how old he is? I suppose he must be. You just don't tend to think of rock stars as aging in human years, though, do you? But I suppose, yeah. I wonder how many original members of Foreigner are left these days, out of interest. I don't think Lou Graham's with them anymore, is he? I saw... did anybody ever see those festivals that come on the TV, like the big rock festivals? I think there's one called High Voltage that's like a classic rock kind of thing. And that was Foreigner on that. Oh, gosh, it's got to be getting on for 10 years ago. And it wasn't Lou Graham singing. So I wonder how many, as I say, I wonder how many of them are left. Something that actually came up in a comment on the Dr. Feelgood video that I put out. When was it? I forget when these things go out. When was it last Monday? And someone was saying that Dr. Feelgood, because they don't have any original members in the band left, they're just cashing in and they shouldn't be allowed to call themselves Dr. Feelgood. I'm not sure I agree with that, to be honest with you, because I don't think a band should be. I don't think any member of a band should be bigger than the brand of the band, if you like. I think that it's unless kind of the band stops playing, and then some people who are completely unrelated to the band in its original format decide to kind of go out under that name, well, that might be questionable. But if it's like a gradual turnover of people to where you get to the point where there's, it's still the band is still touring and recording, but there's nobody left from the original lineup. I don't have a problem with that. I think it helps keep the music alive and helps keep the brand alive and I think there's a nice continuity there with that. It would be nice actually to see, because we're approaching the era now where many bands that we grew up listening to and have fond memories of will have none of the original members left. And should that band call it quits then, or should the existing members carry the torch? I'm very much in the they should carry the torch forward kind of school of thought, I think. Queen are currently touring as well, probably their last. Yeah, I got to tell you, massive fan as I am of Paul Rodgers. I was so disappointed with Paul Rodgers' tenure in Queen. I just think he was just not the right fit for that band and that music, and it just didn't work, I didn't think. But this guy who's been with them for however long now, whenever they do decide to come out and kind of tread the boards again and do the nostalgia thing, Adam Lambert, I think he's got he's not trying to be Freddie, and he isn't trying to impersonate Freddie, but he has got something of that same charisma that Freddie had on stage. And there's just something that it's like, okay, yeah, you've just beamed in from another planet, much like Mr. Mercury kind of did, and he's got that indefinable spark about him, and I think he does a fantastic job. I saw a gig on TV, Queen and Adam Lambert a few years ago. It was on a New Year's Eve, and they absolutely tore it up. They were absolutely fantastic. Of course, John Deacon isn't involved these days. He's Old Time Prophets disagreeing with me, doesn't like Adam Lambert, preferred Paul Rodgers. We're allowed to disagree, mate. I'm a massive fan of Paul Rodgers, I think he's up there, certainly in the top 5, if not the top 3, of great rock vocalists. I just don't think he was the right fit for Queen, I've got to tell you. Richard Barrel's in. How are you, mate? Apparently Jimmy James is saying we've got 185 in the house, so we have. John Deacon's a virtual recluse, rarely seen in public. Yes, he's, I suppose, well, is he a recluse, or is he just saying, I'm retired and I'm going to live a private life? I think that's it's a fine line, isn't it? Adam Lambert is like a crayon sketch of Freddie. Yeah, and I'm with you on that one, Gordo. Adam Lambert is someone with real talent and palpable charisma. I just think he's someone who just he owns the stage when he's on it, and I think for that band, I think he's for this stage, for the sort of legacy stage of their career. I think he's he's as good a fit as they're going to get, really, isn't he? Well, I think so anyway. Yeah, Dave Lewis is saying that Paul Rodgers does Muddy Waters double CD is brilliant. I had that CD somewhere back in the 90s, but it's another one that sort of slipped through the cracks. Thank you for reminding me. David Evans is saying News of the World is my favourite Queen album. That or Queen Live Killers, great album. I'm with you on Live Killers, mate. It's if I had to pick a favourite Queen album, I'm going to be boring here and predictable and say A Night at the Opera. Because or A Day at the Races. yeah, I think I would still come down on the side of Night at the Opera. It's just, I mean, Bohemian. How do you top that? Let's have a look. Sadly, Adam Lambert continues the idea that Queen were a glam rock band for me. Well, the thing is, mate, they were. I mean, look at the outfits that Freddie would wear. The kind of that silver kind of leotard thing with the wings and everything. That. I mean, you think of glam rock and you think it's a bit sort of sugar coated and kind of cheesy but it's what rock was for a large part of the 70s. And it was part of the era, and we can look back now with disdain at yesteryear's fashions, but that was what it was. And I mean, Bowie was glam rock. So I mean, so were a lot of other bands. I mean, I even heard Slade described as glam rock once, but I don't think they ever went quite that far. Really, the thing is that Slade always looked like basically a bunch of rough working class lads from the Midlands, didn't they? Then even if they did go the kind of glam route, they didn't. It was always, they didn't quite kind of achieve the same sort of glam image as someone like Bowie, I guess. Where are we? Craig saying Free were a fantastic. Oh, evening, Craig. By the way, Free were a fantastic band with the two Pauls, Rogers and Kossoff. Indeed. Now there's one. Says Vincent. If you had the opportunity to visit any recording studio in the world, where would it be? Purely for the fact that so many great recordings were made there, and I would love to feel the history of the place. I would have to say Abbey Road, because it's a boring answer, I know. But failing Abbey Road, I mean, maybe the power station, or I don't know. I think I'd still go for Abbey Road. Or how about Trident Studios? I mean, a lot of great things came out of there. Yeah, Podrick, I'm with you there, mate. I saw Queen with Rogers, and I tend to agree. What a voice! One of my favourites, as I'm a big Free fan, but it didn't work with all the material. Yep. Dave Hill didn't look like he came off a building site. Oh, I beg to differ. Yeah, I beg to differ. He was, as I said, you could tell that they were all basically a bunch of rough-ass working class lads from the Midlands, and you could put as much eyeliner and glitter and sparkles on them as you want, but they still had that kind of kind of blue collar look about them. Also, we're talking about recording studios. People saying Sun Studios, yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it? And Muscle Shoals and Electric Ladyland, Sound City Studio, indeed. Nothing wrong with building sites, Bob. Nothing wrong with building sites at all. I'm just saying that, it's a working class thing, mate. And I guess what it comes down to is you could tell the guys who'd been to art school and who'd been kind of inculcated in that culture of kind of artsiness, I guess, and who were the ones who, kind of been the night before they were on Top of the Pops. They were probably playing a gig in some dive of a pub in, as I say, in the Midlands or the North somewhere. It's just nothing wrong with building sites, mate. Michael's saying I would go for Compass Point Studio in the Bahamas, AC/DC, Dire Straits, just for the Bahamas. Yeah, that's it. I suppose if you, the location might have something to do with it. Where are we? Slade in Flame, the most working class movie ever. I think I remember seeing that way back, back in the early days of VHS video. When everybody was kind of passing around, pirate video cassettes and stuff, and there was always that person, either at school or at work, who had who could get you any movie that you wanted. I think Slade in Flame was one of the ones that kept me entertained back then at one time. Yeah, fond memories. I don't really remember much about it, but I remember kind of watching it and enjoying it. Chip Young saying, lived up the road from Strawberry Studios, 10cc Bay City Rollers et al. Yeah, there's gosh, it's got to be getting on for about 10 years ago now. There was a TV music documentary about 10cc and, because 10cc kind of set up and owned Strawberry Studios. And it was really interesting if you get the chance to check it out. It's well worth a watch. Excuse me, chaps, I need another beer. Here we go. How flaky is it? Have I still got some dregs in this one? I do believe I have. Let's get rid of that first of all. And we'll just let this... The Slade in Flame movie dealt with some serious issues in the music business. I do remember something like that about it, yeah. About it being about, kind of working class bands getting, kind of ripped off. Talking about music movies, does anybody remember That'll Be the Day? The David Essex movie, and what was the follow-up one to that, Stardust? Where didn't he play a rocker called Jim McLean or Jim McLean? And I seem to remember Larry Hagman having a role in either that or the follow-up movie. It's great if ever you get the chance. Again, another one. If ever you get the chance to see, I'm gonna have to. We've got all these streaming services now. We've got. Amazon Prime and Netflix and Disney Plus and Discovery and all. I'm going to have a bit of a trawl on those to see if I can find any of these movies. Geronimo's saying something very interesting here. I recently heard that Spinal Tap 2 is coming out. Oh, well, sign me up for that one. Sign me up for that one. That will be absolutely fantastic, hopefully. Although... yeah. Does anybody remember that reboot of the Blues Brothers? Wasn't good, was it? Wasn't a happy experience at all. So, these things can go two ways, but I do like to, kind of give them the benefit of the doubt until, they prove otherwise. The band in Stardust, Stevie Bart, yes, an interesting point you raised there, mate. The band in Stardust were named the Stray Cats. Dave Edmonds was a member, and he ended up producing the real ones. Indeed, yes, and not just producing them, but he actually appeared on one of their tracks, didn't he? Remember The Race Is On? I was listening to that just this morning. Who did that originally? But like that, an old country tune might have been George Jones, perhaps. Who did the race originally? Did The Race Is On, and the Stray Cats and Dave Edmonds did a version of it. Now, there's an idea for a solo analysis. Yes, indeed. I'm going to write that down because I will forget because I've had beer. So let me just grab a pen. The race is on solo. Indeed. Coming to a YouTube channel near you. Steve Entwistle, mate. You've Rubette's glitter band Silk Midure, featured in the crassest music film Never Too Young to Rock. Anyone else remember it? I'd forgotten it until now, mate, but now you've brought back that memory. Yes, indeed. If anybody else uses Spotify on their smart TV, then they'll know this phenomenon. You'll put a song on, or a song will be suggested, and like the lyrics will get displayed, and in between the lyrics you'll get like little kind of Wikipedia type interesting facts about the song. And I have a playlist on Spotify of all the kind of nostalgia kind of stuff that I grew up listening to, you know, all Shawaddy Waddy and the Darts and who else is on there? Manhattan Transfer and stuff like that. And one of the songs on there is Sugar Baby Love by the Rubettes. I know, I don't care, I have no shame. It's got happy memories for me, I don't care. And these facts that come up on the songs on Sugar Baby Love, none of the guys that you kind of remember from, if you're old enough, seeing on Top of the Pops singing that song were actually any of the musicians on the record. It was just a bunch of studio musicians, and the guy who sang the lead vocal on it, that high falsetto vocal, he basically didn't want to be a band member, and he didn't want anything to do with this. But you know, a band was put together for subsequent recordings, and you know, they had a bit of a, well, gosh, about 5-6 year career, didn't they? So just another one like that actually is Alvin Stardust. Alvin Stardust sang on all of his records apart from the first one, My Cuckoo. He was just you know, brought into mime to it because it was this novelty hit, and the guy who actually wrote and recorded the song didn't really want to be this kind of novelty pop star. It was just a bit of fun that he'd recorded, and you know, then it became a surprise hit. So they got this this washed up ex pop star called Bernard Jury, who'd had a career as Shane Fenton and the Fentones in the 60s, and you know, kind of rebooted his career by miming to My Cuckoo. But then suddenly kind of he's got a career as Alvin Stardust. We're talking about Quadrophenia. It was indeed a fantastic movie, indeed. Yes, Sting gave a fantastic performance in that. Disney Plus is bringing out a Sex Pistols 6-part drama made by Danny Boyle. Lydon isn't happy. Well, the thing is, he was very much like that with, you know, the Great Rock and Roll Swindle. He wasn't happy about that. He wasn't happy about the Sid and Nancy movie. He just has a, you know, basically he just has a problem, I think, with people, you know, documenting or dramatising any element of anything he's been involved with. And David Evans is saying, when are you going to do some It Bites stuff? Oh, you're late to the party there, David. I did an It Bites solo a couple of months ago. Still too young to remember. And where are we? Oh, yes. The McVicker film, yeah, that is a fantastic movie. Roger Daltrey plays he's one of those few rock stars that make the transition to actor who can actually act. I mean, you know, we've seen a certain Mr. Bowie, kind of become the thespian on a few occasions, and it was, he was okay. He was Bowie, but he wasn't. You always got the feeling he was playing David Bowie. But Roger Daltrey as John McVicker was fantastic in that movie. Oh, Mike's in CGS. Nice to see you, mate. Saying sorry you're so late. I didn't realise how late it was, mate. We're nearly 50 minutes in. Have you ever failed at the solo and discarded the video? Yes. Once. I was basically going to do a guitar arrangement of a sax solo from a John Coltrane sax solo from Giant Steps, and I thought, well, yeah, it's quite sort of, it's got a bit of speed to it, but I played faster than that. It's not beyond what I should be able to do, so I'm going to have a go at it, and I plodded away at it for about 6 weeks. This is well before I was monetized or anything like that. So we're talking back about 2015 here, and kind of plodded away at it and just wasn't making any inroads into it. So I thought, okay, time to realise your place in the grand scheme of things. Just looking up, Ringo was in That'll Be the Day. Moon the Loon was in both. Indeed, he was. And Scum was another great film. It was indeed, yes. That was another one of those that I seem to remember from the illicit VHS videos that used to get passed around in the school playground. Oh, Shuggy saying, you rock, John. Well, I try. Thank you for saying so, mate. Let's have a look. Let's just scroll back up. Graham Campbell saying McVicker is an excellent film. Indeed it is. Adam Faith does a good turn in that as well. And even Stephen Burkoff, I seem to remember, is in it. Let's have a look. Have you ever met Jimmy Nail? No, I haven't. When I was at college, back in the 80s, it was straight after the first season of Auf Wiedersehen Pet had been on TV. And because I'm tall and because I've got a northeast accent, people would habitually call me Oz then, which is the character he played in the show, obviously. But no, I've never met him. I get the feeling I'd get on all right with him, though. Shuggy saying, vape's no good for you, John. Well, I do lots of things that aren't good for me. I think you forgot for a moment there that you're not my mother. The new Elvis film is shite, according to reviews. I didn't know there was a new Elvis film out, to be honest with you. And Budgie the TV series, anyone? Adam Faith. Yes, indeed. I remember that. And I remember the follow-up, Charles Endell, Esquire. Jimmy Nail has a reputation of being a nasty git. I suppose you can always find somebody who will kind of badmouth people. I don't know. I've not heard that myself. I've not heard that he's got that sort of side to him. But I suppose anybody. I mean, we're all human, aren't we? And we can all kind of have an off day and be a little bit curt and kind of short with people. And that's the thing. If you are in the public eye and you have that kind of day, and that kind of thing gets publicised, especially with social media these days, it can become, that's how you're identified. Nancy Davis is saying, according to the Sunday Times rich list, Sting is richer than Mick Jagger. Who knew? I don't think either of them are short of a bob or two. I don't think Mick Jagger is going, oh dear me, I'm going to have to kind of start scrabbling down the back of the sofa for some spare coins. Yeah, Time Prophet is saying, everyone says Malmsteen is nasty and aloof, but when I met him, he was great. Now, my pal, Steve Hoggett, who you've seen on the channel a few times, he, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I seem to remember a conversation with Steve where he'd met Malmsteen, and apparently it's all a big act. It's, he's sending himself up. That is the joke, and people don't get it. And when people kind of take him at face value, then it's very much what an arrogant so and so he is. But it's all kind of done sort of in a sense of self-deprecation and irony. So I'm told. And I see we've got Thomas in Cowas Music. How are you, mate? Just packing my equipment for holiday, going there next week. I'll take the Pacifica 311H with me, robust and versatile. Indeed it is. You can see I've got one on the back wall behind me there. I don't play it as much as I thought I was going to. Must get it off the stand a little bit more often. A friend saw Gary Moore kick a roadie once and never forgave him, said he was a nasty bastard. Well, there you go. Of course, I will not have a word said against Gary. And, it's just, I'm a huge Gary Moore fan. Do you know what I'm saying? I never met the guy, so I can't say. He was apparently fond of a drink. That is well known. And Michelangelo Batio is a nice fella too. Met him at a guitar clinic years ago. Took the piss out of himself and was really encouraging to everyone he spoke to. And yeah, I mean the general kind of thread I'm getting here is that there's always somebody who's got a nasty story to tell about this person or that person. And it just kind of, for me, reinforces what I've said. Everybody has an off day. It just seems to be, an off day, or you're in a grump, or you've had some bad news and you take it out on somebody else, and these things happen. We're all human, and we've all done it. But if you're in the public eye, then that is something that ends up, or can end up, being something that defines you, and that's your reputation, which is, well, I was going to say it's sad, but it is just the way of the world, isn't it? Let's have one last look in the chat before we have a look. Blackmore had a lot of off days. Indeed. Gary Moore's tone is growing on me, pretty highly distorted compared to many other blues rock guitarists. You see, this is the thing. Gary's tone was, Gary became known. His big success was with that Still Got the Blues album. And he became sort of branded as the blues guy. But, you got to remember, he'd been, kind of a rock and kind of hard rock guitarist for decades before that. Thin Lizzy, Colosseum 2, all that sort of stuff. In his solo career, albums like Victims of the Future and Corridors of Power and stuff, he was, kind of coming out of that kind of heavy rock and hard rock sort of phase, and then went and did a blues album, which I believe he financed himself because the record company were having none of it. And that sort of became what, his big success and what he was known for. So, he was still kind of having that, carrying with him that kind of hard rock, heavy rock kind of baggage of a distorted guitar tone. I did notice that, by the time he's kind of settling into the blues kind of thing, his tone did clean up markedly, and get a lot more organic. You could tell it wasn't a rack system and loads of pedals anymore. It was just his Les Paul straight into a Marshall. Anyway, chaps, we've been on an hour and I'm starting to get hungry and there's a curry to be ordered. So I'm going to love you and leave you and say once again, thank you, chaps, for a fantastic hour on a Friday. I really do look forward to this. And, so many of you come along and just kind of listen to a fat bald bloke talk nonsense for an hour, and I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, I'll say time, gentlemen, please, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now, chaps.